Good evening, ladies. Hello, hello.
Hi,
How is everybody doing today?
good, alhamdulillah.
Good. Amira, Reda, Mona, Sharifa, Neda, Irini, Samar is here. Amazing. Ladies, it has been a major detox week for all of us. Remember what I told you a week ago? Does it really happen to me? Well, coming off of 3 weeks of traveling, and then I came back, of course, to detoxing. By Thursday, my body was in full elimination mode. Spent the whole weekend uh, purging, the runny nose, the sore throat, a little bit of diarrhea in there as well. And it broke yesterday, thankfully. So I'm still a bit in cleanup mode. But that's how it works, right? When the body needs to eliminate, when the body needs to clean, when the body needs to purge, you go with it. You support it, you rest. One second. You rest, I mean, I've been doing this long enough that I know there's nothing I need to worry about. So I just did essential oils the same way that I've been telling you. I did lemon water. I had no appetite, so I was just eating boiled potatoes or roast potatoes. And yeah, I got the coughs. I also got a little bit of a fever up and down. When you're patient with it, the body knows what to do. The body rebalances. I did not take any medication, not one. I haven't taken medication in 11, 12 years. So I've built that trust between me and my body. I know what's going to happen. I'm not saying that's the case or should be the case for anybody, but a lot of you were asking me because a lot of you were going through exactly what I was going through over the weekend. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you the options, and then you can choose how to move forward. I can use myself as an example. I did not take cough medication, did not take fever reducers. I did not take any kind of flu or cold medication. And I've reached the peak, it's come down, and now I'm just waiting for it to completely clear out. And this is what I keep trying to explain to people that these are not signs of sickness. My body wasn't sick. Your bodies are not sick. Anytime you go through this process, whether you intentionally trigger it with a detox, or you think you caught something somewhere, or it's time for a self-clean. It could be as simple as your body is just overloaded and your body has a self-cleaning mechanism that just the body knows when to flip that switch. It doesn't matter what you call it. The process is the same for in all of those circumstances. The process of cleaning out your body, purging the excess from your body is the same. It's going to come out in mucus, in a runny nose, in a cough, in body aches, in a fever. This is how the body heals. These are not signs of illness or symptoms or weakness or breaking down. The whole time that I was going through this, I'm just telling myself, this is amazing. My body's healing. My body's working through this. My body's strong. And it was quite painful at times. So I'm not saying that this is just because you say that to yourself makes the process easier. No way, right? Still just as uncomfortable. But knowing and trusting that we have this miracle, our body, and it knows exactly what to do, it's what helps you get through it. And if you can get through one time of a purge, of a self cleanse, without having to resort to any kind of synthetic medication, you cannot imagine how that literally propels your body forward in terms of health because it's done a true
Oh yeah.
cleanse.
I
Ladies,
don't
can
know.
you all
I
please
didn't
mute
know it's
yourselves?
like a.
A really, really deep cleanse. You haven't suppressed it in any way, which is what conventional over-the-counter traditional flu and cold medication does. So when the body purges and you've got the mucus coming out and you have the cough, the cough, you take the medication, it pushes that process down. And you think that you've healed yourself because the symptoms disappear. But all that it's done is it's just muted the symptoms and it's pushed the process and it takes you back. Because at some point, it all has to come back out again. So whereas if you let it happen naturally and you let the process unfold the way that the speed and the rate that your body wants it to, without interfering, it might take a little bit longer, but you'll be done with it and really rid of the toxins. When you suppress it, the self-clean that has to happen again to take out what was suppressed that was supposed to come out will happen sooner and quicker. So think of your history in the past 5 years of how many times you found yourself with a runny nose or a cold or a flu over and over and over again. One time a year, I would say that's an okay for a self-cleanse. 4 or 5 times a year, that means your system is struggling, and every time it's trying to do what it wants to do, you're suppressing it. So I know that many of you had a tough weekend, and I know that those of you who reached out to me are as more than what you've usually done. You're trying to do it naturally, which is amazing. So I want to just remind all of you, symptoms aside, all of this aside, that those of you who reach out to me and communicate with me and let me know how you're doing and share your steps, whether they're forward or backwards, that's irrelevant. You're going to be the ones who make progress. Ladies, I forgot my water. 1 second. Okay, so it's very important, ladies, that you all reach out to me. Not just when you reach a breaking point, not just when you're worried or scared, which is what happened over the weekend, but in general, I need to hear about your progress. If you're not with me on the sessions, especially those of you who watch the replays. So if I'm not seeing you on the sessions and you're quiet in the group, then I have no idea what's happening with you. And I can't help you if I don't know what's happening with you. So please, if up until this point, you've never reached out to me or communicated or asked a question, some of you I know have actually not even started for whatever reason. You're too scared, you're too still overwhelmed, you don't know what to do. I want to reassure you that that's okay. We still have 2 months together in this program. For those of you who haven't started, that is more than enough time. We've only been doing this, today's day 11 of the food plan. So you have more than enough time to start. If you're stuck and you don't feel like you know how to take that first step, please reach out to me. If you're doing it, you're in the process, you're feeling good, you're not feeling good, wherever you may be, but I've never actually communicated with you, I want to reiterate that communication is key in this program. You're here for the support. You're not actually here, believe it or not, for the meal plan. The coaches, we don't really create meal plans. It's not, we don't reinvent the wheel in terms of eat this and don't eat this when it comes to healing. It's pretty standard. You're here for the support. So I want to make sure that you actually get all the support that you need. Those of you who have been reaching out, no problem. You know what to do and just keep doing it. All right. So let me know, ladies, questions, shares, wins. Let me know how it's been for you now that you finished your first 9-day cycle. Okay.
Should we write on the chat or?
You can write on the chat. You can raise your hand. I'll call on you. Let me just see. There's a couple of things on the chat. Red, how are you today? Much, much better. I would say I'm basically done. I'm just waiting for the sore throat and the cough to taper off. But way better than I was. Wait a second. Red, I started yesterday. Mm. Yeah. So that's common. A few of you have added animal protein again and feeling the bloating and the discomfort. This can happen for a couple of reasons. It could be not the chicken itself or the fish itself or the meat itself. Remember, these have become problematic because of the way that they're grown. So if your chicken or fish or meat wasn't hormone-free or grass-fed, then what you're reacting to could be the hormones in the animal, the added hormones, synthetic hormones in the animal, what the animal was fed. If it was fish, for example, farmed fish, there's chemicals and things in it, medication the animal was given. The other thing to consider is what did you mix it with? Because sometimes there's just an issue of mixing things together. You mixed it with potatoes, for example, or something starchy. This is going to slow down digestion, and which will cause bloating and gas. Sorry. Inji, yes, of course. Any fruits are in. Blood pressure is very low. Well, Celine, you had a tough weekend. You had a really, really tough weekend. I'm going to assume there was lots of loss of fluid with a cold and flu. So I would say add 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt to your lemon water in the morning, as I do. Sorry, ladies. When I talk, it gets really scratchy. Riham. That's amazing. That is amazing. I could never do that. Riham was on a plane for 17 hours. Oof. Never been able to do that. Airplanes are one of my challenges. I'm also kind of a nervous flyer. Not that nervous, but I take all this like stuff to keep me occupied so I don't think about it. So yeah, amazing. Hi. Amira, good for me after the initial few days of headache, backache, fatigue. Okay, good. So that's all clear, خلاص. Good. I wanted to ask about the difference, gluten and wheat. Is anything gluten-free? No. If it's made from wheat, default is it has gluten. Gluten is found in anything made from wheat, like the wheat, anything made from barley and rye. And these are the three main sources of gluten. So gluten-free means it's not made from made from wheat or from rye or from barley.
So we could eat that. Like if we find gluten-free bread, does that mean it's something that we can consume?
It would have to be made with you will find gluten-free bread, and it's traditionally depending on how much the manufacturer has invested in it. If it's the highest quality, using the highest quality ingredients, that would be things like almond flour or coconut flour. If it's a little bit on the cheaper end, it'll be made with brown rice flour or just rice flour. Those are the cheaper ones, lentil flour. But yeah. Still processed though. Excuse me. So not healing, still highly processed. You've just extracted the gluten. So you're not getting problems from gluten, but you're not getting a healing food either.
Nothing like a bread look-alike that we can come up with.
There's a lot of bread lookalikes on the market.
No, something healthy, I mean.
So the gluten-free products will be healthier, okay? But no, I can't say they're healthy. I can't give them that label. I can't get myself to say that. But are they better for you than a regular piece of bread? Yeah. Are they less inflammatory than a regular piece of bread? Yeah. Are they going to move your health forward? If you're trying to heal from a condition or a symptom or a disease? No, they won't.
Fair enough.
They might harm because it depends. You have to look at the ingredients. All of these products are so they're everywhere in the market now because people are realizing that people want to get healthy. So you really have to look at the ingredients. So they might have removed the gluten, but replaced it with like another chemical concoction to give you this bread. So I would say if there's something you're looking at, you want to eat or consume and you're not sure, share the list of ingredients with me and I can help you analyze it.
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome. Red, only grilled. Did you eat it at home, Red? And what did you eat it with? Just chicken by itself or chicken with anything else? After repeating the 3 days, can I alternate between clean and hybrid? Yes, the plans are incredibly flexible. You can do that. Celine. I'm not going to read ladies out loud because it just scratches my throat. Celine. And usually you would feel bloating from the green beans?
Yes, Dana, definitely. I never was able to eat
Hmm.
green beans without bloating or like extreme cramps. Yesterday was like as if I ate Heidi Kusa, you know?
Amazing. There we go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Irene. Oh my gosh, Irene, that's amazing. I hope you guys are reading the chats with me. I'm just going down them. I just don't want to use my throat a lot today. That's amazing. I'm so cold and want to eat potatoes. Go ahead. Go ahead, ladies. Go ahead and eat the potatoes. I told you the only reason we keep them out. Because, I mean, I've been eating potatoes nonstop for the past 6 days. Only potatoes, right? Incredibly healing potatoes. But we keep them out because who's going to eat anything else if they have potatoes as an option, right? Not, so go ahead, add them in. Okay, so Mona, that mucus was pulled out with the juice cleanse. The juice cleanse goes very, very, very deep. It will go to another layer. So what you guys did with the 9 days, the 8 days prior to the juicing, cleaned off one layer because that's only one intensity of detoxing, one speed of detoxing. Juicing goes deeper and faster. So it's going to pull out. Sorry. Juicing is liquid cleansing, is the fastest, deepest, and mucus, as you can see what's happening with me, your body, to protect your body takes all the toxins in your body and stores them in the mucus in your body. And then when it's full, overflowing, the mucus has to come out. That can happen on its own, or that can happen intentionally as part of a deep detox. So that's all that happened to you, Mona. It's great. You want mucus to come out. You don't want mucus, because it's full of toxins, to stay in your body. Sharifa, yes. There is something we learned in coaching school that, especially when it comes to animal protein, you take on the energy of the animal, potentially, when it was slaughtered. So I don't know, but this is not something I've looked very deeply into, right? But in general, whether the animal was happy or not at the moment of slaughter, we can take on the energy of these live beings. So chickens are all of like kind of all over the place. So maybe you find yourself after eating a chicken, you're like, jumping from one place to another, or maybe a little bit scatterbrained. Beef tends to be more grounding. So you feel like maybe you have beef and you feel more settled, potentially. If the animal was scared at slaughter time, if it was anxious, sad, again, I'm not saying this is true, I'm saying this is one theory, then that can get passed on to you when you eat that animal. The other thing, which I believe is more, I can wrap my mind around it more, is that your serotonin or your happy hormone, 90% of that is produced in your digestive system. So whether you're in a good mood or a bad mood is determined by how much serotonin is being produced in your digestive system. It's not up here. So how well your digestive system is producing serotonin depends on the health of your digestive system. So if the digestive system is tired or overburdened or full of toxins, full of bacteria, it can't literally, as the serotonin factory, produce enough serotonin to put you in a good mood. So it could be that, and fruits and vegetables are the highest energetic foods in terms of vibration because they're most alive. So when you eat them, it balances your digestive system and gives you a higher functioning frequency, a higher vibration that you function at. Animals are dead. There's no way around it, right? We love them, we hate them. There's the arguments for and against protein. At the end of the day, you're eating something that is dead. And you're eating something that takes a lot of work for your body to break down. When you eat fruits and vegetables, they give you energy. So you get this automatic burst of energy. When you eat animal protein, it requires energy from your body to break it down many hours. And this can slow down the production of the entire, the functioning of the entire system, including the production of serotonin. So this is something you're going to have to, with animal protein, the two main foods you have to go through a process of trial and error are animal protein and plant protein, like legumes and beans, because both of those categories of protein are the ones that are on the acidic end. We're trying to alkalize. They're on the acidic end, which means they can affect mood. They can affect how your body, whether it triggers disease in your body or not. It can affect skin. It can affect things like chronic disease, autoimmune, all of that category. They're all acidic. So you have to experiment with this, Sharifa, and see. I would take a break. The best way to test this, take a break for 1 week, don't have it, and then have it again next week and see what happens. Reda. Amazing. How many of you watched the movie? The Jason Bale movie? Amira, Angie.
We loved it. I watched it with Amuna and like we watched it in a group and it
I
was
loved
wonderful.
it.
Amazing. Also, you had a family movie
too.
night. Oh, amazing. Love
I
it.
loved it.
The first time I watched this movie was when it came out 9 years ago, 10 years ago. And Jason Vale was my first introduction to healing the body using food before I even went to health coaching school. And I think I watch this movie twice a year just to keep myself, in the spirit of healing. It really tells you everything you need to know. I mean, if there's ever any question about the power of fruits and vegetables, just go and watch the movie. Like they've done it. And there's hundreds of thousands of other examples of other people using similar, healing modalities. But it's so simple. I think it's so simple that people doubt something that's so simple. We're just so conditioned that healing needs to be complicated and needs, lots of procedures, and you have to go to the doctor and you need tests and you need all these medications, that when we just say, just eat fruits and vegetables, like, well, كانش حد غلب يعني. That's all we need to do. Like, people don't want to, it's the simplicity of it is too hard for people to grasp, but that's all it is. That's all they did for 28 days. And by the way, I've done the 28 days, done them with my husband like a couple years ago. Whatever you felt on one day, Reda, multiply that by 100. It's crazy. It's crazy. Those of you also wondering about not having protein and working out, I was working out like crazy. After the first 4 or 5 days of like detox symptoms, I was waking up at 5:30 a.m., energy up the roof, working out, doing housework, taking a walk, not needing a nap during the day. I always say that, well, because you can't live on liquids. And he says this all the time, and it's so true. We were born with teeth, which means God needed us to chew. He created us to chew. But when you're just on pure, and that's what it is, pure liquid energy, it's mind-blowing. So this is why I make sure to incorporate at least one juice a day. And when I'm in true fighting form and when it's not so cold, easy 2 or 3 juices a day alongside solid meals. Thank you, Sara. I'm much, much better. My body is working hard for me. Irini. Yeah, so when you travel is when you have to tweak things because our life is not just us sitting at home cooking all the time. We travel, we have social lives, we have people, families, we do things. And especially with travel, I find that you really, really have to find a way to make it work for you, especially if you travel a lot. So over the years, I've discovered that I need to at least basics stick with, find a place that makes a green juice. And that's everywhere now. Anywhere you travel, that's not an issue anymore. It's not a challenge to find it anymore. There's juice bars and even regular cafes will make smoothies and green juices. Stick with that. And then definitely, if you have the option to have something gluten-free versus a regular piece of bread or regular dessert, by all means, that's what you do when you're traveling. And coconut milk is great to use when you're cooking. You can do that all the time, actually. If you're doing clean eating, you can use coconut milk all the time. You just have to be careful with coconut milk to look at the ingredients because sometimes, depending on the manufacturer, you might find other added oils, which is crazy, added sugars, something called carrageenan, which is a carcinogenic. So that's the only issue with coconut milk. Otherwise, you can use it normally. Amuna. Hi, Dana. Yes. So this is, again, the perfect example of what happens. First of all, when you're detoxing and when you're on this healing journey, it's not linear. So you're not going to feel amazing forever or nonstop or not have a period of time where it dips. Exactly like how I was giving the example of juicing goes and detox is another layer. You could be feeling really good, going along, eating like this, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. And then as the body's clearing layers, might come to another layer and have to remove it. And then you will feel the symptoms come back again, sometimes exactly the same, sometimes a little bit milder, sometimes worse. This is the expected pattern of healing. So when that happens, don't think like it's not working or you've regressed or something's going on. It's exactly what's supposed to happen. In Amuna's case, she had salmon and chicken. So again, like what I said, beginning of the call, this could be salmon and chicken could be not wild. They could be farmed. They could be full of synthetic hormones. So it could be that. So one way to know would be to, again, take them out. And then if you can, the next time you have them, if you have access to it, then I would choose wild salmon instead of regular salmon, completely hormone-free chicken if you can. And then also see what you ate them with. So did you eat them with something that might be conflicting inside your digestive system? The other thing I would say is sometimes we discover along this journey that our body does better with a little bit less protein in terms of frequency. So it might have been that you would have been okay with salmon, but and because remember, it takes a really long time to digest. So it could have been your body still processing the salmon. 24 hours later, you had the chicken. That might have overloaded your system. And remember that protein takes the most energy to digest. So if your body's using up energy to digest, guess what you're going to feel? Tired, not mentally alert. So it could be any combination of those, the type, the frequency. Maybe it was too much for your system to have 2 days of protein in a row now, okay? Or what it was mixed with. Other than that, I enjoyed the detox. And you increased your citrus. Amazing, with no reactions. Amazing. I mean, yeah. Tapioca flour is one of those gluten-free flours like almond flour, that coconut flour. Yes, you can use those when you're making, if you want to make a healthier dessert or something. Yes. Reda, chicken and quinoa. Okay, there's your answer. So quinoa is a grain. So anytime you're going to mix a protein with a grain, so chicken with quinoa, chicken with rice, chicken with beans, what else do we mix? Any one of those? Those are two types of protein the body's trying to break down, first of all. So a lot of effort in the digestive system. Whenever you eat animal protein, you want to eat it with the foods that are the least problematic, let's put it that way. So plain cooked vegetables or salad, greens. Those are the foods that go best with animal protein. Some of you might have digestive systems that are a little bit more robust. You could put in a potato, which is a starchy vegetable. It might pass, it might not, but definitely quinoa, rice, any type of rice, white, brown, long grain, basmati, doesn't matter. Plus all the beans and legumes mixed with animal protein, that's going to give you those symptoms, Reda. So this is great news for you, right? So there's no mystery here. It's great news. You've made all of you who are discovering this, you're making great, you're collecting all this data about your body. And this is where the bio-individuality comes in. You're not all going to be the same once you bring in animal protein. It will be different. The amount, the type, the frequency, it will be different for each of you. Is there a quantity limit? No, Riham. No, if you're sitting and eating potatoes, there's no limit when it comes to any fruits or vegetables, even if they're starchy. Our portion control only applies to protein, whether animal or plant protein, because these are more on the acidic side. Don't take them instead, Irini. Have the prunes and also have the dates. They both have different benefits. And make sure the prunes are not conventional prunes. Conventional prunes, usually they might have added sugar. They will definitely have preservatives, preserving agents, which are like sulfites, nitrates, things like that. So you want to get the only ones I know of in Egypt that are pure. I think there's others, but the only one I know of is Minnie's dried fruits. Everything else on the market is not pure. No worries, Riham. Can't find it on YouTube. Neriman, what are you talking about? Oh, the movie? I had the link for the movie in the email on Friday and in a Facebook post on Friday. You can search it in the group or go back to your email that was sent out on Friday. Coconut milk brand. Actually, you can get fresh coconut milk from, I think she's called The Gut Mama. The Gut Mama. Look her up on Instagram. I think she makes fresh coconut milk. That's actually the only one I would recommend. No, there is no wild salmon in Egypt. So when I say what is available to you, because I'm not sure where everybody is exactly, wild salmon is not available in Egypt, unfortunately. Sara. No, definitely no salmon. No sashimi. These are full of parasites, potentially full of bacteria. This will completely undo everything you're doing in the detox. On oat milk and almond milk. Okay. So again, these are not healing foods, right? And they're not your direct replacements for dairy in terms of calcium. So you're not going to stop drinking dairy because it's highly inflammatory. Worry about your calcium and then have oat and almond milk. Really, the only times you would consume oat and or almond milk is if like you're a coffee drinker and you go back to coffee and you used to drink your coffee with dairy and you drink a latte or cappuccino or something like that, and you want to go back to that at some point, that would be the only time. And again, you have to make sure that they're not full of seed oils, sugars, and all of this. They are not health foods in and of themselves. We've used them to replace dairy, I believe, only in certain circumstances, maybe in baking, things like that. But they're not essentials. Like you don't have to make sure you're always stocked up on oat milk and almond milk. And if you don't ever drink coffee or go back to drinking coffee, I don't see any other use for them, actually. Because even in smoothies, you want to make sure your morning smoothie is as simple as possible so that because the liver doesn't want grains in the morning, and almonds and oats are nuts and grains. So even in your morning smoothie, I wouldn't do it every single day. Every once in a while, if you want a different flavor. In the morning, you really want to give your body and your liver specifically the most easily digestible, easy to break down combinations of food. And throwing in, it's also a fat. So throwing in oat milk, almond milk, almond butter, nut butters, this throws off that balance for the liver. The movie, yeah. Nariman, check the email or search in the group Super Juice Me and it'll pop up for you. How about the salmon from out of the blue? I've never heard of that, Nariman. That's a new company or new brand in Egypt. Please share the link with me. That would be amazing if that's true. But I don't know anything about them. Salmon from sea salt. They claim it's wild. So I have heard of sea salt, but I've never tried. Do they say then they ship it in? Is that how it's what they bring in wild salmon? Then that would be amazing. But there's no way that you could actually catch wild salmon in Egypt. We don't have it in our seas. It doesn't exist in the Mediterranean. It doesn't exist in the Red Sea. You're actually much better off consuming our own local fish that is caught from the Red Sea or is caught from the Mediterranean. That is by default wild fish, any of our local fish. What if the sushi is frozen before consumed? Nope, doesn't make any difference. Still carries the risk of parasites and bacteria. Reda, I'm a bit confused. Yes, so that's what you do, Reda. The first 3 days have animal protein, and then the next 6 days are exactly what you did last week, finishing with the juicing day on the last day. Can I just decide? Ideally, if you're following the plan in order, follow it in order. But as a rule, you can juice anytime for as many days as you want. You can do a day or two. I mean, look at these people who did 28 days. You can do 2 days, 3 days, as long as you want. But if sushi is fried, then it's not sushi, right? Then it's just fried fish. Oh, you mean like the rolls and things where they put like the fried fish inside the roll? Okay, but you still have the roll. Okay, you have the rice. You have the soy sauce, right? And soy is one of those foods. It's a GMO, also interferes with women's hormones. But yeah, but the frying of it, then it's also deep fried usually, right? Like it's usually battered and deep fried. So they've added wheat, flour, maybe eggs, regular batter. Then they've deep fried it in a seed oil. So they've deep fried it in an oxidizing, highly toxic seed oil like corn oil or sunflower oil. Then they wrapped it, and then you dip it in the soy sauce. So I'll let you decide, Nariman. So anything that's deep fried is dangerous. I'm not even going to say like it's bad for you. It's dangerous. Anything that's deep fried in a seed oil is incredibly dangerous for your health. Yeah. So if you were to ever consume soy, it would be the fermented form like miso, things like that, but not like soy milk, not the soy sauce. Yes. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a superfood. We do really have to be careful with it. Also, the Japanese, I can tell you from experience, my daughter lives in Tokyo. I've been there twice. They have one of the highest quality of ingredients that I have ever seen anywhere in the world. Probably very equal to the Italians in terms, and probably even better than the Italians. It is crazy the incredible level of food preparation. It's not just even the safety, it's just they don't believe in, there's no processed foods at all. Okay, it's all beef. They eat a lot of pork, which is very surprising to me. So beef, pork, their rice, which is just steamed, and then lots and lots of crazy vegetables, crazy amounts of vegetables. They don't do junk. They have the junk food, obviously, but it's not a staple. My daughter was actually teaching at a preschool for 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and their lunch was steamed rice and stir-fried vegetables with some kind of fish every single day. So it's a whole other level of eating. So people are always saying, well, the Japanese eat this and they're fine. And don't look at single ingredients. The Japanese as a whole, okay, they're not eating processed foods. They're not eating all the seed oils. There's no junk. Their animal protein is incredibly well bred without all the processed ingredients of other countries. So, I mean, this is just to tell you, like, don't pick one thing and say, oh, they're super healthy. They have soy. It's not just because of the soy. It's just how crazy healthy everything else is. They also eat a lot of eggs, which was very surprising for me. They do these funny egg rolls, like egg with everything. I can talk about that another time. It was very difficult for me to eat in Japan. Let's put it that way. It's not very, very tasty. I don't eat sushi, which apparently is the best sushi in the world and has nothing to do with any sushi you've ever eaten anywhere. But I don't eat sushi, so I couldn't do that. It took me a while. I had a very hard time eating out in Japan. I had to eat at home most of the time with my daughter. It wasn't palatable for me. It took me time to figure out certain places where certain combinations, like pure traditional Japanese food. So yeah, but they eat very, very simply and very small quantities. Like you're not going to go, there's no like supersize portion in a Japanese restaurant. Very small quantities of everything. Sushi once a month. This is a thought model question, Irini. This is literally a thought model right there, right? This is just a thought. It's not the absolute truth. There is another perspective on this for sure. I highly, highly recommend, invite you to do a thought model on this and share it with me. Sharifa, so miso is allowed. When and if you decide to have some kind of soy, it would be miso, like a miso soup. Yes. Amira. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The oil, even if it's changed frequently, that's not the point. Even if he's spilling it from a brand new bottle in front of you, the problem is the oil. Corn oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, palm oil. These are what we call seed oils that oxidize in your blood and create disease. So make it at home and bake it. In addition to the fact that the one in the shop, he's never changing it. So on top of the fact that it's inherently bad, there's also that problem. Does freezing the fish at very cold temperatures below 0 kill all the parasites? I have no idea. I don't have an answer for that. I'd have to look that up and get back to you. I actually don't know. Hi, Reda. If I have any appetite, can I just do smoothies or yeah. I know that it's still you're in the process of relearning nutrition, but you're like some of you have asked me this, like you're worried, like is it okay to have just a smoothie or just a juice, forgetting that it is the most nutrient dense nutrition that you can possibly be getting. You'll be getting more nutrition out of a smoothie, terms of live hydration, live vitamins, live minerals, healing powers, antioxidants, you name it, than a piece of chicken. Piece of chicken is dead. It's dead. You cannot compare something alive to something that's dead. So 100% you can do that. Bless you.
That was my mom. Sorry, I'm not unmuted. I'm really
No
sorry.
worries, bless your mom.
Salamtik ya then. I was actually typing and saying salamtik. I'm so sorry.
Allah يسلمك. These are, whenever this happens to you, ladies, it's going to keep happening. Remind yourself, this is how the body heals. And how you speak to yourself is very important. If you go through this self-cleanse process and you say, oh my God, I'm so sick, I'm so tired, I can't believe what's happening to me. Your body, your mind, they're connected, and your mind hears what you're saying. You want to always keep telling yourself, I'm healing. My body's really strong. My body's working for me. This is how my body is saving me, right? Because that's what it's doing. It's like eliminating things that shouldn't be there. So your body knows exactly what to do. Let it. Sharifa. Yeah, so anytime you cut, juice, blend, within 30 minutes, they start to lose their benefit. So with a juice or a smoothie, you want to make it and you want to, you don't want to have it, you're prepping it for the next day. You want to make sure it's in a really, really airtight jar, because once it starts interacting with the air, is that it starts to oxidize and lose its benefit. So airtight jar, put it in your refrigerator, furthest part of your fridge, to protect it as much as possible. Same thing with anything that's cut. Do you take medicine? No, nothing. I haven't taken medicine in 12 years. I think, Nariman, you weren't there for the beginning part. I haven't taken medicine in 12 years. I let my body self-cleanse. I let it go through the process. I do lots and lots of essential oils. I was doing a lot of peppermint, a lot of lavender. I also do oregano oil. I also do castor oil, because castor oil also pulls toxins from the body, right? We've been doing it for bloating and constipation and all of that. I didn't have the stomach for a lot of liquids, so I was doing some lemon water, some orange juice, but I was not comfortable. I just, whatever was happening is just wasn't sitting well. So I was just eating a lot of potatoes, still eating a lot of potatoes, and no medication, no. So here's the thing. If you want to do the 9 days exactly how we did them, then you would not do animal protein once you get to the day 4. If you want to do clean eating, so some people will want to do the deep detox recipes, like the salad and the veggies, and add a piece of animal protein to that. You can do that. So you can definitely do that. It slows the process down a bit, but you can do that. Inji. Continue on hybrid if that feels good for you now, okay? And more importantly, you keep seeing improvements. So this is always going to be how you gauge it, all of you, right? If you're seeing improvements, even if you've slowed down, seeing improvements doesn't have to be fast. Some of you want to see them fast. Some of you will feel that slowing it down can make it more sustainable for you. So if you're doing it, it feels good, and you're still, as you go through the journey, you see the improvements, you see the symptoms reduced, then by all means, of course. What do I think of homeopathy? I know that I have very little personal experience of it. It's not something I've used, but I do know that it's incredibly powerful, and that when and if you need it as a substitute for conventional medicine, I would choose that. I think I've just never really gotten into it, or I've never felt like I needed it, but that would definitely be the first step to do if you're trying to move away from conventional medicine. Okay, so castor oil for fibroids, you're just gonna massage it right over your uterus. So much lower down on your abdominal area, all the way down to your pelvic area. Massage it in every single night. That's the only way. But I wouldn't depend on this as this is the thing that's going to do it. Fibroids is, in essence, an issue of excess of estrogen dominance, where the body doesn't filter out the estrogen and it ends up being dumped back into the uterus, and it collects and forms the fibroids. So we have to address what's happening internally. The castor oil can remove the inflammation that it might be contributing to the fibroids, the way they attach, the way that they're, giving you symptoms in your uterus. But I wouldn't say that on its own, castor oil is going to get rid of them. Yes, doTERRA is what I've been using, Amita. I bring it with me when I travel. It's the only oil that I use. I've been using they make these like rollers, so pre-mixed. So I use the peppermint, the lavender, and this is the first time actually, I must have known on some level. I brought back the oregano oil with me for the first time this trip. And I said, I know that it's really good for like detoxifying. It's really good when you have like detox symptoms. Let me just buy it and see if I need it. I have been using it, and it is very powerful. So I'd say that if anybody's going to use oregano oil, you have to be very, very cautious because it's very powerful. And I use them all topically. I haven't used them internally. It's one of those oils that will flare up your symptoms very strongly, where you feel like you're going to die. And that kind of happened to me one night because I wanted to get rid of my cough. It flared up the cough for 3 hours. And some of you have described your coughs, and this was exactly what I was feeling, but then it was gone. And oregano oil will do that. But doTERRA and the other brand is called Young Living. They're sort of two competing brands. And we'll talk about essential oils in a few days. These are what we call therapeutic grade oils, because if you wanted to, you can ingest them. You can put a few drops in water and actually consume them. Everything else, like in Egypt, all the essential oils in Egypt are not, to my knowledge, therapeutic grade. They're only meant to be applied topically. So I would not take any oils from Erise or Black Lotus or any of these and drink them or put them in water, any of that. The only ones that I can guarantee are therapeutic grade safe to do that are doTERRA and Young Living. I'm sure there's other ones, but those are the ones I know of. So yeah, the local ones are great for all the topical stuff, Amira. Amazing. We have great essential oils. The only difference, if you want to experiment with ingesting them, then not the local ones, only doTERRA, to answer the rest of your question. Can I eat the apple stew at night before bed? Yes. Yes, you can. Anything right before bed, I would say the biggest concern would be if it's a fruit, it's going to go through your system very quickly. But with fruits, because they're very hydrating, you just don't want to consume something that's going to have you get up and interrupt your sleep at night. You want to have deep, uninterrupted sleep. So some of you don't have that yet because the liver is still working really hard. So we don't want to add another layer where you have to get up to use the bathroom. Tomorrow, ladies, and the rest of this week, we're going to talk about skin, supplements, essential oils, superfoods. That's what we're doing from tomorrow until Thursday. And then this is our last week of daily sessions. And then starting next week, we do only 2 sessions a week. Most of them are just Q&A sessions where we're going to come in here and I'll just leave it open for all of you to be able to ask your questions. We have 2 main sessions after this week, which are emotional eating and mindful eating. Those are the main big ones that are teaching classes. Everything else is Q&A from now on. Sharifa. Yes, exactly. So I would do the oils I have are sort of pre-mixed. So the lavender comes in a roller and it's pre-mixed with coconut oil, and the peppermint is also pre-mixed. So I would just take both of them and rub them all over my chest and all over my throat, all over my head, because I'm very congested up here too, and then all over here all over here, massage them in, and I would do that like every 2 or 3 hours to get rid of my cough and to get rid of the congestion and get rid of everything. And then I added in the oregano oil, but it was very strong, so I only did that like once a day. Maria. No, so here's the thing with conventional medicine, ladies. You have to start getting really smart in knowing and understanding that there is a time and place for conventional medicine, right? We're not going to shun medicine 100%, and why should we? There's a area, there's a part of conventional medicine that is brilliant, and we want to be able to use that. Where it's not working, obviously, is in curing chronic disease. But if you have a sudden infection, if you hurt yourself, بعد الشر, you have to go to the emergency room, you break a bone, like you have a tooth infection, you'd have a tooth removed, and you need to take the antibiotic, okay? Like this is a time when you have to do that. Of course, there's going to be some people in the holistic health world who will tell you, no, even in those situations, an infection, the body can heal itself. You can actually go without antibiotics. And in some very, very few instances, that is true. But I wouldn't venture there or experiment. It's not the time to experiment because this isn't chronic. The problem with medication is something that you have to take for the rest of your life. Okay? The problem with medication, just like burgers and pizzas and junk food, is not whether you take something every once in a while, but the things that you have to take continuously that compromise your system. So antibiotics are, they're going to go in and they're going to, help you deal with a sudden infection. Or, sometimes you have to take a medication, a steroid, cortisone, something, because something happens suddenly in your body and they need to contain it quickly to save you, right? Once you're done, like once you're out of the infection zone, once you're out of the danger zone, then we need to look at, okay, so an antibiotic does good. It heals infections, but yes, it also causes imbalance in the body. So you take it, and then once you're done taking it, you work on rebalancing any imbalances the medication might have caused. The fact that, Maria, you're already detoxing, so your body's already in fighting mode while you're taking this antibiotic is all you need to do. So don't worry about it. Take it, heal, and keep doing what you're doing. The only thing I might recommend, but not even for one round, if for whatever reason you have to take one round after another of antibiotics, I would then recommend probiotics to help balance out. But even with probiotics, we can do that naturally with foods. Doesn't even have to be the pill. So I wouldn't worry about this, Maria. Keep doing what you're doing because already your body is rebalancing any kind of imbalance from the antibiotics already, just because of the way you're eating. Neriman, I get them from a company called doTERRA. I believe I've linked that in your detox guide under the section on essential oils. They do not deliver to Egypt. Well, they do, but they're going to make you pay crazy taxes. So every time I travel, I order them to where I'm going to be, or if somebody I know is coming, even like Dubai, anywhere in Europe or the States, they have they have doTERRA UK, they have doTERRA US. I'm not sure about doTERRA Dubai or if the UK one is the closest one, but I will order a bunch. Like I know how I use them throughout the year. I just order a supply and keep it with me. I had a prescription for my fatty liver today. Can I take it? Okay, so this is the perfect example of a chronic condition, Reda. Okay, fatty liver has been building up with you potentially for the last 20 years. This is not an acute, it might present itself as acute today. You might have gone with like pains or discomfort or something, might be presenting as acute. But this is the perfect example of a chronic condition that is 100% a result of food and lifestyle. 100%. It's not, you don't have a fatty liver, Reda, because you're deficient in whatever medicine they've prescribed for you. Now, this is not me telling you to take the medicine or not take it. I'm explaining it so you can make the best decision for yourself. Fatty liver will not be healed with medication because the medication will add to the liver's fatty load because the medication is a toxin. Fatty liver requires you to unfatten your liver, remove all the foods that created the fatty liver to start with. This will take a minimum of 3 to 6 months. When you choose to take, when and if you choose the medication, you will continue to have fatty liver. Even if you're making some of the changes, you might see minimal changes, but the medication will just mask the symptoms of fatty liver. So whatever discomfort you might be feeling from the fatty liver, the medication will mask the symptoms. The medication does not go into the liver and jumpstart the liver and heal the liver to reverse fatty liver. So this is, two perfect examples today. One is an acute tooth infection that comes on suddenly, has to be treated, otherwise she's going to be in horrible pain. And one is a condition that has been building up in her body for years and years and years as a direct result of food and lifestyle. And medicine, whether they know this or not, they will not tell you this because then they will basically lose money. They're in it to make the money. If you don't take the medicine, they lose the money. But fatty liver is one, or they think you're too lazy, which is the other problem. Doctors think everybody's too lazy. Nobody's going to want to make the changes. So instead of just leaving her, let's give her something just to patch it up, right? Let's put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. So think about this, Reda. I can't make this decision for you. Inji. Oh, 100%. 100%. I was using it for headache. I was using it for joint pain. It's like wonder combination. Again, Reda, your doctor is not understanding the root cause of any kind of pain in the body. Any kind of pain in the body is a sign of inflammation in the body. And inflammation comes from toxicity and deficiency. Glucosamine is a supplement. Supplements don't heal. They don't heal. And as by definition, we're going to talk about supplements, they are a supplement to something. So even if you want them to work, you have to be laying the groundwork for them to be able to work. So I can't tell you whether to take it or not, but I will tell you that this is not the long-term solution. No. Fibroscan. I don't know what that is, Reda. You'll have to tell me in more detail, please. Clean eating. So generally with clean eating, the grains that you would consume are, again, this is where you use portion control. So rice, whether brown, white, etc., beans, all of those are half a cup of cooked. So that's not a lot. Half a cup of cooked rice if you want to have it in clean eating, given also that it doesn't trigger any reaction. So when we say that category of foods, the grains and the legumes, given it doesn't create a reaction in you. So half a cup cooked, you would not mix it with protein because that will slow down digestion. That will take away your energy. That might give you bloating, might give you gas, might give you constipation. So I would say separately, you could mix the rice with vegetables or the protein with vegetables, but not together. Mona, I also have a fatty liver. I'm very curious. Okay, Mona and Reda, were you given any nutrition advice? I'm very curious to hear this, or just take the supplement.
Yes, Dana, I was given nutrition advice. I live in California,
Yeah.
so they gave me like a Mediterranean plan.
Okay.
But I have been doing it for a while and it's not like making anything better. I'm not losing weight or anything. So yeah, but they said you have to take some either you take glucophage, the metformin,
Yeah.
or you take the berberine. And I took the berberine like couple of times, but it really makes a lot of pain and aches in my stomach. and yeah, and then I started the cleanse.
So I'm curious, a couple of things. What were you eating every single day on this plan? And did you also have an insulin issue that they gave you the
Yeah, I have a huge insulin issue.
Okay. And
Actually, I thought or I think it's a post-COVID symptom. Because when my brother got COVID, his pancreas stopped working. So I think it's something in the family. So when I had COVID, like 5 or 6 months ago, everything happened after that. Like I've been diagnosed with fatty liver and my pre-diabetic and I have a lot of symptoms of diabetes. Yeah,
okay,
I
so
forgot the question.
so here's the thing. For you and your brother to both show this, it is, yes, it means you both had a genetic predisposition for this. COVID did not create this, right? So fatty liver does not happen from having COVID for even 2 weeks, okay? Fatty liver takes years to develop. Insulin resistance takes years to develop. So what's common between you and your brother, yes, you might have a genetic predisposition, both of you. You might have inherited a genetic predisposition, but what you definitely both have in common is the way you eat, right? That's what created the situation, created the condition in both of your bodies. As families, we all eat the same foods, unless one of us decides to go and change how they want to eat. If you look at families, look at your own family, you've been eating the same food as your parents and your brothers and your sisters, and now your spouse and your kids. All of you are eating, you're repeating the same types of food generation through generation. So whatever weakness you've got, because people say, oh, it's genetic. I have this because it's genetic. I can't do anything about it because it's genetic. You didn't inherit just the potential for the symptom. You also inherited, we have a great saying that says, the disease is the gun, right? But the trigger is your lifestyle. So the gun can be loaded with potential for disease, but the only reason it's going to go off is if the way you eat and drink and live your life. So if everybody in your family, yes, has a genetic predisposition, but then everybody in your family, you also inherited the same eating habits. So what COVID can do is it exposes, then it brings to the surface, or it hastens, it quickens the discovery of the weakness in your body. Okay, so you were eating the Mediterranean plan, it didn't work. The Mediterranean plan can have too many fats. So fatty liver is a combination of too many fats, even healthy fats, plus processed foods. So it happens from bread, pasta, rice, junk, caffeine, as well as too much animal protein, too much fat, even good fat, too much semna, too much olive oil, too much of it. Both of those can create a fatty liver. So Mediterranean diet, as far as I remember, might remove some of the processed foods, but you're still eating meat, olive
But
oil.
actually, Dana, I've been doing also keto before that. So it's not only, I cannot blame it on the Mediterranean diet. I think it's a healthier version of a diet, but before that was keto, and before that, I've been doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
I even did your cleanse, but back in 2018. So
Yeah.
I'm trying everything.
Yeah. So keto is all fat, so that could contribute to fatty liver 100%. My point with the Mediterranean diet is they gave you the supplements even though the foundation wasn't working.
Yeah.
So if the foundation wasn't working, the supplements are not going to work.
Okay.
Okay. So it could have worked for somebody depending maybe on your level of fatty liver, but obviously if it's not working for you, then we need to get rid of all the processed sugars, which is what we're doing, and get rid of all the fats and relieve your liver so that it can regenerate. And this
Okay.
will automatically also, because the body doesn't know how to fix one thing and leave another thing, it will automatically also balance your sugar levels.
Mhm.
Because keto can also lead to diabetes, believe it or not. So it's making a lot of sense now what you're saying. Like we're fitting in all the pieces of the puzzle.
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
Dana, for me,
Yes.
it's fatty liver. As my family, my mom, my sisters, all we have a fatty liver. So it's genetic, as you said.
Ghada, you're cutting up. Can you guys hear her, or is it just me? Yeah. Ghada, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a genetic because my mom, my sisters, all they have the fatty liver,
Yeah.
and the FibroScan, it's the way where you can measure what's the thickness and the intensity of the fats over your liver.
Okay.
So this is the way they decide that you have a fatty liver, and which stage you are in, and
Okay.
all all the data about the liver.
Okay.
So I've been diagnosed with fatty liver 2 years ago, and I've been watching my food. I'm doing the diets. I'm doing everything, but it doesn't go down. It doesn't reverse the case.
So when you tell me that okay, first of all, the fact that everybody in your family has it, like I said, it's a genetic predisposition. But if you were to sit down and have an honest one-on-one with yourself, you would see that you and your mom and your sisters and everybody eat exactly the same food. So you all ended up with the same condition. When you say you've tried everything, did you actually remove completely all processed sugars? So, and for a long period of time, right? So if you were just diagnosed 2 years ago, you've been building up this fatty liver easily, potentially. A lot of adult onset diseases have their take root in childhood. So we could easily be looking at 30 years or more of a disease building up in your body. So if you just get diagnosed with fatty liver or diabetes or whatever it is, and then just go do a diet, to lose weight for a month even, or 2 months, that's not going to heal your fatty liver. Fatty liver needs a complete lifestyle shift, needs a complete removal of processed foods, bread, pasta, rice, all the fats, a removal of most protein, and basically do what you're doing right now for a minimum of 6 months, so that when you go and do this FibroScan again, you might see a shift in 6 months. So this is a very long-term vision. You cannot fix fatty liver on a traditional diet, I'm guessing, and you cannot do it in a short period of time. It needs consistency, and it needs time, and it needs a lifestyle change. And it will not be reversed by just taking a medication or a supplement.
Totally agree. I
There are
totally
some
agree.
supplements that we can add in. I would say not before the 3-month mark. There are certain natural vitamins and minerals that can support the liver in its detoxification process. So we support the liver with some herbs and some things like that. But they are a support system. They are not the cure. So I
Okay.
need you to be patient with this, Ghada.
All right.
And, then you'll be done with it.
Hopefully.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dana.
There is an egg substitute. Can you post on the group? Can you tag me on the group and I'll share the recipe? It's like a flaxseed. They call it flaxseed eggs, something like that. All right. Celine had to go. I think it's time for all of us to go. Anybody else have questions, ladies? Can I eat potatoes with animal protein? I want you can try it, right? And see if you get any symptoms, because potatoes mixed with animal protein are one of those combinations that can potentially slow down digestion, give you bloating, give you gas, take a lot of energy away from you where you wake up the next day tired, headache. So test it and see. You might have a digestive system that's okay with that. You're welcome, you're welcome. Allah يسلمك إريني. I keep saying my body's working for me. You're so welcome, Amira. You're so welcome. All right, ladies, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Tomorrow we're talking about skin. I think for the rest of the week, you might want to bring a pen and paper to jot down some notes for these week's classes. All right? All right, ladies. Good night.